If you want to see improvements quickly on the court and don't want to spend hours practicing technique, then this video is for you. Here are 6 killer paddle tips and you can improve in under 24 hours. Let's go. So the first of the killer tips is all about defending in this corner. I know it is an absolute nightmare when it comes to trying to take it off the sidewall or do a turn. The hardest part is knowing if it's going to hit the sidewall and then the back wall, or if it's going to hit the back wall and then the side wall. So how could we tell which wall it's going to hit? It's all down to this tip about positioning. If you stand around here and block the corner, I will now know that any ball that comes to the left of my foot here is going to hit this side wall first. So then I'll know it's going to hit the side wall and then I can do a turn. And then I know that if it's going to hit at me here or to the right, it's going to hit this back wall and I can turn the other way. So I saw on that one that because it was coming at me here, I know it's not going to hit that side wall and I know to turn the other way. That will help you massively. Tip number 2 is to play percentage. If you play percentage in paddle, you're going to be way more consistent, you're going to make a lot less mistakes, and you're going to be much harder to beat. What shot should we play in order to play percentage? Well, we should do lots of lobbing because that's a very easy shot that even if you're playing against the top players, if you get a good lob in, they'll always have to move to the back of the court and you can take advantage and push the net. The next thing is to play down the middle so much. The middle is so low risk because one, if you mess it up and maybe it goes a bit to the left, a bit to the right, it's still very likely to end up in the court. A lot of the time your opponents won't know whose ball it is as well. If the ball's always going down the middle, they might mess up and both go for it or both not go for it. You're going to win a lot more games because you're going to be so much more consistent. Tip number 3 is all about how you use the warm-up. So a lot of people, when they start a paddle game, sort of vaguely do ground strokes from the back of the court, then they go to the net and do a few volleys and a few overheads, and a lot of the time it looks like they're focusing more on just being able to hit the ball back than actually warming up their shots. The warm-up is crucial. It gives you an opportunity to basically try all of the shots that you've been practicing and learning and get a free chance at them. The key shots that I personally think are crucial are volleys and overheads. For me, when I play in a tournament, I don't even bother really warming up my ground strokes from the back of the court. I just go straight to the net position and try and get as many forehand, backhand volleys and overheads as possible. And then when my opponent wants volleys and overheads, I move to the back of the court and then I get to practice my ground strokes then. But I wouldn't waste any time doing ground strokes from the back of the court because the most important shots are the volleys and the slightly higher balls and the overheads. Tip number 4 is to use the split step. I watch so many players playing paddle and they just stand with their racket down like this. And then when the ball comes to them, they're so late to react. If you do this, which is called the split step, scientifically proven that you will move faster. It's the same phrase as just being on your toes, always bouncing, and then when the ball comes, you do a little bounce and you'll be much faster to react and get in your position quickly. If you watch any pro player play or any top players, they're literally always bouncing, and every time someone hits the ball, they'll do a bounce that they're really fast to react. I guarantee you, if you spend the entire match just focusing on being on your toes and staying awake, you'll notice a huge change in how fast you are to react to every single ball. Tip number 5 is to lob a lot more. Now, I touched on it a little bit earlier. I don't mean to lob every single point. Maybe half the time when you're defending from back here, the shot should be a lob, especially if that ball comes off the wall. If a ball comes off the wall like this, you've got to lob that ball every single time. It's an easy ball. Too many players get caught up in the ground stroke battle, trying to play to people's volleys, and they end up running around here and getting tired. The lob gives you so much time to prepare for the next ball and it gets you out of trouble a lot of the time. The main goal from being in this defensive spot is how to get to the net position. It's not to try and win the point from here, it's not to try and play a really good ground stroke past the opponent, it's to get the net position, and the lob is the easiest way to get that net, so you should do it a lot more. Tip number 6 is to soften your shots. Now, I don't mean to play every single shot soft, but there needs to be a mix-up. Some shots you play slow, some shots you play fast. Hit the ball as hard as you possibly can, and then half that. Medium pace, 50%, 60% of what you can do. If you're playing hard all the time, yeah, it might work at beginner level, early intermediate. As soon as you go to an advanced level, they'll kill you if you're constantly playing the ball hard all the time. If you're too focused on the smash and the aggressive shots, better players will beat you. The benefits of playing soft is that you'll be more consistent because you've got less risk of missing. It's a lot easier to play the ball where you want it when you play it slow. If I want to go down the middle and then I want to go corner. Softer shots a lot of the time will actually throw your opponent off and are a lot harder to defend. It will keep your opponents at the back of the court. A little bonus tip here, if you're struggling to choose a paddle racket, then you can contact me personally on WhatsApp. Just drop me a text on WhatsApp and I'll give you some advice of what paddle racket to choose. Also, check out Everything Paddle, my online paddle store. Nearly every single paddle racket on that store has a full video review of me reviewing it.